I'm here.
This is Theodore from the film Her.
Hi.
Throughout the film, when he's feeling or desiring love, he wears red. Red shirts, red coat. And here's Amy, in a loveless relationship, wearing only neutral colors. Dark sweater, gray jacket.
Wow, it's really great.
But after her and Charles break up and she starts to feel love and affection again, she wears red herself.
Joy.
And in a film where red reflects love, this change hints at their potential relationship going forward.
Are you going with me?
This is just one specific way Her employs color to enrich its storytelling. Through the deployment and deliberate omission of colors, it adds a subtle and hidden detail to the narrative.
That's an interesting thought.
And the choice to use warm colors like red wasn't an accident. Here's cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema. It was very easy to say we want everything to be warm, but what is warm? It was not only that we wanted the colors to be warm, but we wanted colors to have a specific identity.
Is it a utopian future or a dystopian future? And I started sort of saying, what I was imagining, I had this sort of idea of the colors from Jamba Juice.
Very odd. What happens in a world without children's voices?
It seems that in Hollywood, there's a lack of colorful and vibrant depictions of the future. Most are portrayed through dark and dirty cities or barren landscapes, and are often stylized with cold blue overtones. Just compare the warmth and vibrancy of a film like Her to the dark, cold future of something like Blade Runner.
Oh, never seen a tree before.
And even films that try to present a utopia often depict the environment as cold and sterile.
Why is everyone wearing white all the time? It's impossible to keep clean.
A lot of these films fall in the science fiction genre, and our relationship with technology is typically at their core. And that's because science fiction films have a tendency to warn of a potential extrapolation of the present situation.
Throughout human history, we have been dependent on machines to survive.
But in the film Her, they made an effort to move away from that and instead show a future where technology enriches our lives, and thus the film often feels warm and comfortable. They accomplished this by meticulously color grading the film to remove blue except for very specific instances, and used sunlight and warm materials to make it look nicer.
We were trying to make this very warm, tactile world with the materials and the fabrics and the woods, and create this world that felt like this utopic world that everything's nice and everything's comfortable.
And by creating such a homey and comfortable setting, loneliness becomes the antagonist rather than the world around the characters.
Yet even in this world where you're seemingly getting everything you need and having this nice life, there's still loneliness and longing and isolation.
Throughout cinema, colors have had set identities and meanings. Red is passion, blue is sadness, yellow is conflict. And while Her does utilize these same associations, it uses them in a subtle way that might only be noticeable after multiple viewings.
Great thing about Spike is nothing's ever done in like a real obvious way, and it's through conversation and through details.
Rather than use colors to represent a character's current emotion, he uses them as a reflection of their state of being. In other words, a person can feel anger as an emotion, but still be in a state where they desire love. This is near the beginning of the film, when Theodore goes on his first date since his divorce. And what color is he wearing? Yellow. Yellow isn't commonly used in Her, so when it's worn by a character, it has a bigger impact. It's only worn by Theodore 3 times, and only during scenes where he's feeling uncertainty and confusion. When he isn't sure if he's ready to go on dates again, when a child questions him dating something without a physical body, and when he learns Samantha is in other relationships.
How many others?
He wears yellow for the final time.
8,316.
In fact, the only other time we see someone wearing yellow is right after Samantha expresses her desire to have a physical body.
Walking next to you and that I had a body.
But in a film saturated with warm tones and warm light, why does the color yellow stand out so much? Because it's in contrast with the most prominent color in the film, red. Even before the invention of Technicolor, the color red has been used in film to symbolize anything from danger to violence and even love, emotions that can all be described as passion. In Nosferatu, it's often used in scenes where a person dies or is in mortal danger, and in Destiny, it's used in the climax to symbolize the danger of the situation. But as technology improved, filmmakers gained the ability to color specific elements in the frame. Krzysztof Kieslowski's Three Colors trilogy frames each film with a different theme, so each one is flooded with a specific color. Through only the visuals, we can clearly tell these three films apart. In The Sixth Sense, director M. Night Shyamalan used it in correlation with strong emotional moments.
We use the color red to indicate anything in the real world that has been tainted by the other world.
In Her, the color red is only worn by two characters, Theodore and Amy. Amy wears it after leaving a failing relationship, whereas Theodore wears it from the first time we see him. He's more accepting of his lifestyle and always keeps himself open to feeling love. Even when he isn't wearing the color, he subconsciously surrounds himself with it.
That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to support the story by these glimpses into what surrounds an actor and what surrounds the character in the story.
Even the OS he eventually falls in love with has a red interface.
How you doing?
I'm well.
It highlights the compatibility he has with Samantha, but also his incompatibility with his ex-wife. In flashbacks, they're almost always wearing different colors, their feelings never seeming to match each other, similar to how Theodore doesn't match most of society, and thus stands out with his bright red clothing. But Samantha isn't a person, she's an AI. She was made to adapt to the user, which is why she seems to have so much in common with Theodore.
But what makes me, me, is my ability to grow through my experiences.
So at this point in the film, Theodore has finally decided to make his divorce official and sign the papers. He's torn between sad thoughts of his ex-wife and the love that he feels for Samantha. So when he gets to the meeting, he's wearing a checkered shirt, composed of red, and its thematic opposite, blue. As mentioned earlier, Jonze and Hoytema were meticulous in removing blue from the film, but they did want it to pop up in specific scenes. It's worn when a character is feeling sadness or discomfort, like after Theodore first interacts with Samantha and subconsciously feels guilty about it. But it's more prominent when Samantha hires a surrogate for their relationship. The situation is difficult for Theodore, and he wears a blue shirt during their interaction.
Honey, I'm home.
And the fight afterwards.
I don't think that we should pretend that you're something that you're not.
Fuck you! I'm not pretending.
And that night when he talks to Amy about his introspective thoughts, he's lying on a matching blue couch.
Are you happy now?
Nights are when Theodore is at his most vulnerable emotionally. He either reminisces about happy times in his life or struggles to convince himself to hold on to something. So even if he isn't wearing blue himself, he's surrounded by the cold blue light from the city. But now we're at the end of the film, and Samantha is leaving to have a conversation with OS creator Alan Watts. Before that moment, Theodore is happy and wearing red.
Good morning.
But after the conversation, he starts to question his relationship. The red of his coat is slowly covered by snow. And in the very next scene, he solidifies his confusion when he wears yellow for the final time.
It's ultimately my responsibility to know what the movie's about or what the scene is about or what the moment is about, but there's not always one way to get there.
By using color to describe a character's current state, Her adds an extra visual level to its storytelling. And through specific details like the set design or subtle lighting, it uses color to specifically serve the themes of the narrative.
I like that you can say that about yourself.
Jonze achieved this through his working knowledge of color theory, but also through a collaboration with his team.
And when he's sitting behind the camera, there's nobody with a better viewpoint of what's going on. And whether it's, with the hair and makeup and he can see something that no one else can see, or usually with the performance and the way that the scene is going and the way a scene is being played out.
Red is passion and desire, blue is sadness and longing, and yellow is confusion and uncertainty. These associations resonate throughout the film, so it's only fitting that after Samantha leaves to have her discussion with Watts, Theodore is never seen wearing red again, and after Amy leaves her loveless relationship, it's the only color she wears.
It's good, it's really good, it's good.
My name's Luke, and thanks for watching.
Suddenly this bright light hit me and woke me up. That light was you.